łudźnika.
Welcome back to the 2016 Season 1 of SSL. I am Valdez. With me is Wolf. As always, for the SSL, we just had a pretty crazy series there with Byun just barely able to take out Hurricane.
Yeah, he just narrowly was able to defeat him. I mean, he was down in upgrades, but he just kept trading so well that he eventually was twice ahead in Army.
Ooh.
Now soO giving the come on.
Come over here. Come into my booth and sit down on my lap. I'll teach you a little bit about Starcraft.
Now, taking a look at soO's stats, he, like Biel, has been most dominant in the Zerg versus Protoss. However, losing a few matches here and there versus Terran, including his match versus Byun himself.
Whoa. Patience is a ghost, man. He's actually transparent.
He's a Force ghost. He's like, he's straight out of...
That really kind of scared me, actually.
He's a straight up Force ghost from Star Wars, but now in Korea right now, actually let's make it even like less broad. In Star League, a Protoss player has not taken a single map off of a Zerg player. I think the score is currently 9-0 for Zerg, if I'm not mistaken. So soO is, I would say, by far the favorite of these two players. But considering where we're at right now, I think soO is even more the favorite. But we're going to jump into an interview thing, sort of pre-segment, sort of.
Well, we were.
Oh!
It's him going again. Hey.
It's kind of funny that she was waiting for it to come up and it didn't, and then it came back to her and the crowd laughed.
The whole studio freaked out. They're like, oh!
Not as much as the Korean commentators freak out when a disruptor shot goes off.
Yeah, that was so funny, man. Watching that replay. You described it best.
We can talk about that next time you and I cast a PvE, because I'd love to go into depth on the Korean commentators.
It's like they're turning up a knob with the volume based on how close the disruptor shot gets to the enemy unit.
I just imagine like Kanata with like a disruptor shot, like a purification nova's coming out of his mouth. He's like, like goes towards the camera, then it just like goes back into his mouth.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But Korean
it's pretty crazy. I don't know. We only get the shots where they're doing that noise because it's a highlight reel, right? So only the disruptor shots, the blinks, the crazy maneuvers get shown. So it's just like that over and over and over again for like 4 minutes during our.
If you focus on it, you will laugh a lot. I guarantee it. Don't play a drinking game with it, or you'll die. But as you know, a few people on the website Reddit pointed out on the r/Starcraft section that the Korean commentators only talk about the game and they never ever go off topic.
Yeah,
and their play-by-play is so godlike.
Oh, it is, man.
They're so specific.
I wish we could all speak Korean so we could just listen to them all the time, right?
Yes.
That's definitely the way I
feel a little like almost. I've taken some sort of like.
Ooh.
Oh, soO's got to wake up.
soO's like, I didn't even practice for this guy. Who am I facing? What race is this?
Charging up that Snorlax Hyper Beam or something there.
What expansion am I in right now?
You know, there's, besides Pro League, SKT, and even in Pro League, SKT has not lived up to their name yet this season, but besides Pro League, SKT has had some pretty bad results in individual leagues this year.
That's part of it. Well, let's see if soO can bring it back against Patience for game number 1. Game number 1 for our ZVP, beginning now. Down on the bottom right in the red, the Zerg player, it is soO. Has tons of fans here tonight.
Yeah, and his opponent to the top right in blue. Very successful foreign team he's on. He has Patience. Dead Pixels doing very well. There's a few foreign teams out there that just kind of are at the top of the tiers, even in Korean tournaments like Dead Pixels, Invasion Esports, one of those teams that did very well. Just recently picked up Major, who's still around when he's not playing competitive Pokemon Y, and messaging me to play it with him. I love Major. He's really good at Pokemon too. I never beat him. Crushed me many times.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try, man. That game, I've played Pokemon Showdown online, and if you play against someone who's actually good, you're not going to do well.
No, it's never going to happen. That's why I'm actually pretty excited for, it's going to be released, I believe, on the 28th. The Virtual Console on the 3DS is going to have Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow re-released, and you're going to be able to wirelessly trade and battle people, even though, you know, Link Cable was the old way of doing that. So that gets me pretty hyped because those games are simple. But back to a more complicated game of StarCraft. As much as Pokemon Showdown and stuff is quite complicated and EV training gives me a headache, StarCraft is the most complex and beautiful game that we have here in the world, and also especially in Korea where the players are the best. And soO is going for a second hatch after gas, so he'll be able to quickly grab speed here.
Yeah, and it looks like actually Patience checked the third base that was closer towards him. May want to check the other area. I think that's a bit better for Zerg against a Protoss or a Terran, really. You just want to get your expansions farther away.
Yeah, and soO,
just check it.
soO also scouted really early with his Overlord because he got lucky on Ruin of Ceres here to see where Patience was, so he knew that was definitely the better location.
Yeah, you know who did a crazy build on this map in these positions was Super against Rogue. I don't know if, I think that might have been Pro League.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, so he just made a bunch of Adepts and like 10 Phoenixes and then just killed Rogue. And Rogue just didn't have anything ready. He just didn't expect it, I guess. And he just died.
Yeah, Rogue seems to be a bit of the practice dummy for some crazy builds in the past few weeks.
Yeah, it seems that way. And we do have a Stargate on the way to start off things here for the Protoss. Not too funky, pretty standard. Going to start pumping out those, Oracle first.
Yeah, I was wondering if what he had seen from his Adept, that he might go Oracle first here because there was no Queen at the third base, and also this third base is very far away to creep spread to, so if you do send an Oracle over there, sometimes you can actually catch the Queen with an Adept or two when it's transferring or it's isolated, and you can get some kills that way.
Really nice, yeah, really nice timing on that Overlord. Comes in right when the Oracle is being made, nearly right when it began, so was really on top of that. Is going to be 100% prepared for this Oracle. The best thing that Patience can really do now is hope for a couple kills, maybe 3, if soO's not really paying attention. Just keep it alive, because you want it throughout the game. Just do a bit of scouting for you, tag some units, stuff like that. Yeah, looks like it only gets 1 kill there.
soO is very lucky in that he scouted very early what was going on. He's been able to continue that. Now he's going to kill this probe, and that's a huge victory here. Because now the third Nexus is going to be so delayed from Patience. His Oracle isn't even getting involved because the spores are up so early and so safely.
Yeah, well, he's got a second Oracle over here looking to defend, and he does do just that. And down comes the Nexus, but soO behind this is just droning up like crazy. He knows he has all the time in the world. You go double Oracle Stargate into a third Nexus like this, I mean, you're essentially giving the Zerg about 3-4 minutes to just drone up and get a massive economy.
Like, your ground army is non-existent, so you're basically building harass base units and defensive units, but you can never attack with these units. Like, you're never going to walk across the map with 5 Adepts and 2 Oracles and kill a Zerg who has Queens and any Spore
No,
crawlers.
It's just not going to happen. And soO is just still making drones. He doesn't show any signs of stopping, which is actually worrying. You do want to stop at a certain point.
Yeah. Well, he's going to lose 2 Overlords here because it looks like he was focusing on his multitasking elsewhere and left those in the Protoss base too long. But they got him a ton of scouting, so I don't blame him for losing those. I mean, not to say I don't blame him, but you know, it's not the end of the world. He already got the information he needed. Few hold position Oracles here trying to find some harassment damage. Ooh, playing with fire though.
Ooh, he does lose 1, and that was the one with a lot of energy too. That's going to pull back a lot of that aggression. He was hoping to poke a bit with a couple of those Oracles and a small group of Adepts, but after that, he just lost all pressure.
You know, with that being gone, it makes sense for soO to try to poke out with these earlies and maybe try to force an overcharge Oh, look at these, all these units out of position. The Lings are going to try to sneak in. Oh, he's got a tight wall, very smart.
Yeah, just a little tight wall. soO at this point, I mean, he's up to 63, 62 drones. Pretty much all you're going to want on 3 base. He is getting his own 4th base up here. Could decide to put on some pressure, or he could just take the easy, you know, slower route, tech up to lurkers, get those Hydra upgrades, and then eventually siege over there. Is going to add a Spire as well. He's getting a Roach Warren.
Yeah, he's getting a range first and +1, and he's spreading the creep in that direction. I'm leaning towards he's going to really heavily pressure with Hydra Ling, which is why I thought he might try to force an overcharge with those Lings. Well, I guess he was trying to, but Patience was just too patient, no pun intended, and did not waste that. But this is going to be a really tough point to defend because eventually, like you said, he will transition into those lurkers. And he's going to do what we saw Dark do versus Classic last week, where you just kind of siege up, you poke with Hydras, force the Frost to engage into your lurker siege up position. I mean, they are Zerg's siege tanks, essentially.
Well, we do have a nice little tag there, and it looks like Patience actually invested in about 4, 5 sentries, 6 even, so really was not able to get past that choke at all, even though it was a pretty wide one. Also got a nice tag with the Oracle, so he knew exactly what was going on. Forces soO to just back off, and this buys Patience a little bit more time.
soO is actually even behind in workers right now, which is another sign that he's really banking up to hit a timing, but with the advantage he had earlier from having those drones so quickly, even though he's down 1 Harvester right now, he mined a lot more in total. He's really throwing Patience for a loop. He's adding 6 Mutalisks, which is going to draw him to make Phoenixes. He's already working on those Phoenixes right now. I guess Bjell is out, and soO, if he ends up losing, will also be out. Not entirely sure if there was like a deeper meaning to that sign or not. But anyway, he's going to force these Phoenixes, but he's also going Ravagers. He's going to have +2. And I'm pretty sure soon we're going to be seeing that Hive coming along to get those lurkers out.
Yeah, for sure. We do have these mutas now looking to pressure a bit, maybe draw some of the units into the main and then attack there. But there are 2 cannons up at this point. It's not going to, the mutas, only 6 of them. It's not going to be enough to do any damage to the main. Nice little adept over here to spot exactly where that army is coming from.
We do have that lurker den coming up now, actually. It's already ready to go. And as soon as he actually finishes it, he can start morphing lurkers right away. This 4th Nexus is going to be canceled here. Good maneuver by soO. Interesting choice if he stays up here. Meanwhile, going to harass Patience's main with just a few mutas. They will be obliterated by these Phoenixes, but he forced 6 Phoenixes to be made in the first place, which isn't going to be very helpful once those mutas are gone.
Yeah, well, here we go. soO coming in. He's got a really nice concave, but there are still a lot of sentries left over. Not going to use those corrosive vials on the force fields. Just going to go for the damage there on the units.
Yep, not going for the pylons either. Phoenix is coming in to help join the battle. There's a lot of Hydra damage being put off from the back, but the Roaches are doing ample tanking here. Reinforcements on the way, but the problem is DTs come out.
He has no Overseer over here. He makes 2 right at the moment. So looks like some damage was done here at the 3rd base, and DTs are actually doing a lot of damage here at the 4th base. Yes. Going to force a really big pull, and going to force, more importantly, soO to go all the way back home.
It's like a trump card or something, he's just waiting, saving to use it, and it worked really well. Now, 8 lurkers on the way, Overlord speed. Also going to help his Overseers, of course, to detect those DTs if that harassment continues. We're seeing Spines being added. But I still like soO's position. Patience still doesn't have a 4th base. Oh, those rallied Overlords are going to get picked off here. He's going to have to replace those. He's got a lot of minerals to do so with, but so frustrating to make a rally mistake like this. Needs to be careful with those Overseers. All right.
1 Phoenix does go down, and soO gets tagged again. He does have some lurkers, and he does go for the burrow. Nice force fields here. Gonna force the lurkers to burrow very far away. We talk about this a lot. Force those sieging lurkers just to burrow and unburrow and re-burrow, so you buy yourself a lot of time here.
All right, Overseer's in the mix now, so those DTs aren't going to be very helpful. He picks off an Archon. Corrosive Vials connecting with 1 Stalker there. With these Spines here, Zealot Harass, it looks like that was sent over there, is not very successful. But, Patience is holding on. He's not allowing these lurkers to get into his bases. He's not allowing them to get under his skin, whereas players like Classic we saw just last week were not able to have enough defense to stop lurkers from getting on top of the base. Look, he's got photon cannons constantly rotating around. Great control here by Patience.
Well, he's going to get those lurkers in pretty close. Patience does have a pretty nice concave here, trying to throw out some of those force fields to push soO back. But for now, just going to trade a bit.
Patience is really putting a dent into soO's bank with these moves. The gas is running out, and soO is, remaxing with 20 Hydras. He is finally getting that infestation pit up. The transition to the hive that they thought he did earlier. But, I mean, look at this. Again, trying to find another angle, but Patience is here right on time. Good usage of the barrier. Going to blink to the left side.
Yeah, going to try to blink in here. He's focusing down so many of these lurkers so fast, and once he gets rid of that, he can easily deal with these Hydras in the back.
Yep.
Looks like possibly he lost his detection, but he's on the chase now for soO's units.
Now that one lurker that stayed alive actually doing so much for him. And keep in mind, all of these immortals are very, very low. One Hydra here even going to pick off the last sentry. And even though it looked like things were going very well for him, he may have chased too far. And that one lurker.
Oh, he just got 3 immortals in one hit. What?
That one lurker is actually winning this game for soO. Here comes the next Overseer. He's cleaning up the DTs. Way too many range Hydras.
There you have it. soO taking game number 1. Looked like Patience was holding on there for a bit, making it pretty hard, but in the end, one small mistake and pretty late fourth base as well made the difference here for soO to win that game.
Yeah, Patience having the right units until he switched to Phoenixes, and yeah, I mean, if you make 6 Mias for 6 Phoenixes, the Phoenixes are not only more expensive than those Mias that he killed all of them with, but they were virtually useless after that. They killed a few misrallied Overlords. But soO made all the right choices. He got his defense up for the DTs. He had those spines set up. He had spores set up that didn't phase him. And
yeah, I really liked his static defense at the third base. He knew that was going to come, and Patience really could have done a bit more damage. You could see what happens when 1 or 2 DTs gets into some of your bases, pulls the entire Zerg army back. And it's just a really good tool for hanging on, getting the necessary units to deal with that mid-game kind of lurker pressure that the Protosses always feel in this matchup.
yeah, we're